Travis Wayne Goodsell. Disturbing news from Fox 13 News Utah on YouTube about new data among suicide rates for Utah women, as Utah women are the highest per capita in the nation. But what disturbed me is that the woman being interviewed blamed women's menstrual cycles. Oh dear God. All women have menstrual cycles. That's not the cause. But she's trying to say that a woman's menstrual cycle means she's mentally ill. It's so evil. This is why I keep warning you about psychology and anybody in that field. They lie to get clients. That's what you're seeing. Is they'll call them bipolar disorder, a chemical imbalance. And then you get drugged, and then over a period of time, the drugs kick into your system, and you get dependent on it like a regular drug. And then they go, see, you needed to take your drugs. You should have taken your drugs. This is why you're going through withdrawal symptoms, but they don't call it withdrawal symptoms. Dear God, you women are being abused by people in positions of trust. Because we all know it's the church that's the cause of the suicide rate. We saw this in grade schools in the news over the last couple of years. Grade school kids are getting bullied here in Utah because they're black or because they're not Mormon. And to have this come out is just so appalling that they would even dare blame a woman's menstrual cycle. Dear God. And so, the other news story, you probably are wondering, since I'm a critic of the church, since I've exposed that Joseph Smith is good, Brigham Young is bad, and Brigham Young murdered Joseph Smith, and blah, blah, blah. Well, there's an arson at the Orem Temple yesterday, apparently. And what's interesting is that I had the video the other day on it was more than the other day. There it is. 8 days ago, I did a video, Latter-day Type and Shadow LDS Church Destruction, where I told you that the Brigham Young had burned down the Nauvoo Temple to do away with the old and start his whole new religion with the inverted pentagram on the Salt Lake Temple. And that, in like manner, is going to destroy the church. This church is going to destroy itself. And it just corresponds with the latter days, with the day that shall burn as an oven. And now that we've learned about nuclear documents being leaked by Trump, I told you guys, I told you, and you don't believe me, and the government won't believe me, and then we find out that that's the case, and then they don't want to admit that I told them so. Because the whole Bears Ears thing was to give Putin, and that's my prediction. Seeing the news talk about this, there was one news station that put up a map of all of the nations that have nuclear capabilities. There's 8. 8. What's Putin doing now? He is big on nukes. And he's been threatening nukes, and everybody's saying can't count nuclear option out, blah, blah, blah. And, of course, Ezekiel chapter 38. And then when you go back and remember Trump, it's amazing. Everybody forgets. It's like I was the only one paying attention to every single detailed news story that was coming out back then. And for the most part, trying as best as I can now. But that's the whole point, is that they count on people forgetting things. And Trump was big on getting more nukes. Talking about wanting more nukes. Give me more nukes. We've already got the most in the nation, in the world. More nukes. And then he was going to nuke hurricanes. And then he was going to nuke America. Because he was pissed. He thought we betrayed him. Weren't being loyal enough. But in his tweet, he brushes off the claim of the nuclear secrets, saying that just like the Russia hoax. Well, it's not a hoax. It actually happened. It's been confirmed now. It was Facebook giving up the data, which ended up into Cambridge Analytica, which was then sold through to Russia. Then Russia would buy advertisements on YouTube, tailoring it to the data that they were provided with. So some of you were parroting, "I'd rather be Russian than vote Democrat," for example, and you're buying the merchandise. That was Russia. Good job. You were brainwashed and hypnotized by Russia. And so, yeah, it is bizarrely curious, but it wouldn't be one of my enemies who put hate mail and death threats on my channel, because they could never tie it to me. I can't get down to Orem, and there's no way. And I have an alibi. 300 alibis of where my whereabouts was yesterday whenever it burned. But there was no order by me given in this video to burn down the church. Nobody can accuse me of that. And so I don't see any of my subscribers either. I don't see any of them doing it. They're still trying to catch up, learning what I'm talking about. Here, I just pulled Gospels. Yeah, it's only 14 in 2 hours. You guys don't care. I went the whole day, and then this is what I get. And so, it's none of them. But we have seen in the news a rash of church burnings, and churches don't have insurance. That was new to me. I thought the church had insurance on church buildings, but they do on temples. I found an old archived online text by church members working for the church in the particular offices that said yes, only the temples are insured. And so the Orem temple will be covered by insurance, and especially if they can convince the insurance company it's the church. They've already got leverage over the insurance company. If only we could have leverage over our insurance companies. But and so the church isn't too concerned, but they're still asking for a reward for any information about the arsonist, because it's a confirmed arson rather than an electrical failure or something like that. The Orem temple is temple fire popped up on my thing. I just want to look up the temple. Temporary closed, yeah, because of the fire. So they've updated the thing online here. Let's see. It was announced on 5th of October 2019, so it's new. Groundbreaking 5th September 2020. It's under construction. Oh. It looked like it was about finished, but it's expected to be finished by fall of 2023, next year. That is interesting. Huh. And so somebody's preventing it from being built. Huh. Well, You also need to understand that the Book of Mormon condemns this church for their big lavish buildings among the poor, or when there are poor still, even in the church. There's an inequality of finances among Mormons. And as I did the video yesterday, 2 days ago, LDS Church History Breaking Bombshell News. The Kirtland Safety Society was destroyed because of the Danites. They were taking out large loans, not paying them back, collapse. And then Joseph Smith got blamed with 17 lawsuits. And so that one's doing fairly well. It's 180 now. But that's why they then went and did the coup the very next year in 1838 by the election fraud to get Joseph Smith in trouble again, which got him into Liberty Jail, as it required also Orrin Porter Rockwell's attempted assassination of Governor Boggs. But this church is the Danite Church, and I'm kind of surprised that such would be the case. I did not see it earlier when I checked the church news. And nope. No. Yeah, they still don't have it. Yeah, they haven't changed anything from when I last checked. And so, the churches were graffitied. Oh, and some also in the past have been burned down as well. But the graffiti was about pedophiles in the church, and the sex abuse problem that's prevalent among Mormons. And I did do the video about Mormon temple ceilings have no authority to grant eternal life or exaltation yesterday, but it doesn't show what time yesterday. Did I do it in the evening? Because then it wouldn't have corresponded. But yeah, the Great and Abominable Church, compared to the Church of the Lamb, is wealthy and all over the world, whereas the Church of the Lamb is within it. And so they're also around the world, but they're fewer in number. And so that's why you see these lavish temples, as there are poverty-stricken nations that are getting these temples. Africa alone is enough to tell you that they're mocking people. And south of the border, all impoverished nations, as the church just mocks each and every single country they put a temple in. Because missionaries after missionaries after missionaries keep telling me that the people thought that because they were in a nice suit, they were rich, and they were a part of the church, which is rich, and so they assumed that joining the church would make them rich, and it didn't, and then they stopped going, and retention rate just tanked. And so Nelson then had to do his world tour in the places that were not attending church, as WikiLeaks, or Mormon Leaks, revealed the lack of sacrament meeting attendance in the Central American places. And Mormons aren't seeing this. You don't need a lavish temple. You just need a building. And the regular churches and stake centers could fill in as temples. I've published the book on how to turn a stake center into a temple. And there's just no reason for the suffering that the church perpetuates as they continue to increase in their wealth. And I've done the research to show that their offshore accounts have laundered trillions of dollars that's just sitting there. And I've also been pointing out how they're manipulating the stock market. Whenever I do a filing, they do a panic sell. And that money goes into their offshore accounts rather than back into the $40,000 pot. So then Benson or Bednar can get up and say, well, just look at the stocks. I guess we're not doing so well, are we? And just lie. And, it's disturbing, but there is no full understanding of the intention of the arsonist. But it's not surprising. I just did the video also that is also not doing well. I mean, my stats are doing well, just not the new videos. You're all watching the older videos, aren't you? Let's put analytics. Yeah, haters come out. Yeah, my goodness. Wow. What are you watching? Oh, 5 different views of angelic visit to Joseph Smith, 2023 bicentennial. Oh, my goodness. 335. It's a steep incline. Great. So I guess the YouTube employee, I hope, is backing off. He did for the thumbnails. It takes apparently 2 days for the lawyer to get in contact with the people that need to be contacted. That's the way it was with my storage place. It took them 2 days before the property manager stopped harassing me. But interesting. So I don't encourage it because the church will get insurance money, but it has no authority. It is a worthless building that is being used to deceive people, to lead them to the path of destruction, as they're literally murdering you guys and you don't see it. You still praise him. You still thank thee, O God, for a prophet. You still believe in Jesus. And that's sad. So, I was going to do a video on Ishmael for you, because there was an Ishmael papyri found in Israel that I saw today. So, checking out the video, looking for a screenshot, it was a young boy talks about how it was sad because it means so much to so many people. Well, of course it does. The Satanic Temple means a lot to so many people that attend the Satanic Temple. And they don't like it if they get vandalized and abused and bullied and burned down. And so that's kind of not a good argument to use. But apparently it's one person. They saw one person fleeing the scene. They showed the clip, at least in the 2-minute, 18-second video clip that I saw. And also brought to my mind, Utah, Salt Lake Valley has had problems with arson of apartment buildings, where an arsonist was going around burning to the ground apartment buildings. I think most of them are under construction as well. So this seems to be an under construction arsonist, rather than a person who's targeting the church per se. But it is out in Orem rather than the Salt Lake Valley. Because I remember the one that was right by where I used to live. I could see the smoke from my house, my apartment, before I was evicted by the church. And you see, what the church has done to me, they've literally burned my life to the ground. And nobody's getting them in trouble. Am I not offering a reward? No, because the whole justice system is all owned and operated by the church. Everybody's compromised. Judges are supposed to recuse themselves. Just like the judge that was put in by Trump who called for a special master, she was supposed to recuse herself. I can't be the judge in this case, Trump. You put me in. And I'm surprised the prosecution didn't say, hey, she was a judge put in by you. No, we're not accepting her. It just... So, anyway, it's disturbing that the church gets away with their crimes, and yet when the church is a victim of crime, that there's a manhunt on the way to bring criminals to justice. It's so unequal treatment that I'm disgusted.